All right, so here we are with lesson 6. All right, I'd also like you to get this finished today. So steps for solving multi-step inequalities, right? So these are the same steps that we already talked about for solving equations. Don't call me after midnight, written slightly differently here for you, okay? But regardless, all the same steps that we talked about before, so please copy those down. Now, again, you don't have to necessarily listen to every problem, okay? You certainly are more than welcome to pause the video and work on the problems on your own, and then go back and use the video to then check to see if your answers are correct or whatever the case may be. All right, so here we go. First up, okay, so let's follow our steps. There is no distributive property here. Okay, so then the next step will be to combine like terms. So when I look at this particular inequality, I have like terms of 4x and negative 2x. Together they make 2x. Okay, and then I also have like terms of plus 26 and plus 11, and they make plus 37. Okay, that has to be greater than 49. All right, so I'm going to subtract 37 from both sides. I end up with 2x is greater than, what is that, 12? Okay, then my next step is going to be to get rid of the coefficient, which is divide by 2. So I find out that x has to be greater than 6. All right, don't forget when we do these, we're graphing them on a number line. So I'm coming down here to the number line. I'm going to put 6 somewhere in the middle. I can label whatever parts of it I want. Okay. I'm going to use an open circle for 6 because this is an open set. It's just a greater than. There is no equal to. That means 6 is not part of the answers, but everything bigger than 6 is. So like 6.1 would be an answer. Okay. Let's see here. Number 2. This one requires distributive property. Okay, so I'm going to distribute that negative 2 to both terms. All right, that gives me negative 6x minus 30 less than or equal to 42. Okay, so when I solve this, I'm going to add 30 to both sides. Add 30 to both sides. Okay, and I get negative 6x is less than or equal to 72. I'm going to divide by negative 6, which gives me one of those special parts about inequalities. Anytime you divide by negative, you got to flip your symbol. So 72 divided by that negative 6 ends up giving me negative 12. Okay, and it's a greater than now, right? So when I graph this on the number line, I want to make sure I go greater than. All right, so I come down here to number line, I put negative 12 somewhere in the middle. All right, I can label whatever parts of the number line I really want. Okay, I'm going to use a closed circle this time because it has an equal to symbol with it. And greater than means I'm going to the right. All right. Now this last example here has all the variety in, okay, all the steps of those equation or inequality solving steps. First distribute, so I get negative 2x plus 6x minus 48 plus 10 less than 2. Okay, now I can combine like terms, so the negative 2x and the 6x make 4x, right? The negative 48 and the plus 10 makes negative 38. And this has to be less than or equal to 2. So I move down to the next step, the A, okay, would be to add or subtract. In this case, it's going to be add because I see minus. So I'm going to have 4x is less than 40. And the last step is multiply or divide. In this case, it's divide because that's the opposite of multiplication. So I see here that x ends up being less than 10. It's a less than, so it's an open set, open circle. I'm going to put 10 somewhere in the middle of my number line. Okay, I'm going to plot an open circle at 10, and it's less than, that would be to the left. Okay, again, you can pause this and come back and check your answers, or you can just keep working right through. All right, so down here, I've got a couple more examples. All right, so let's take a look at a few of these. Okay. Number 4 is very much like number 1 up top. All right, I'm going to combine like terms first. So it looks to me like I got 4.5k and negative 1.3k. When I combine those two together, I'm going to get 3.2k. All right, and then I'm going to have a plus 18 and a minus 24.1. Okay, so when I take negative 24.1 and I add 18 to it, okay, I end up getting negative 6.1. This is still greater than or equal to 14.7. So before I even started the problem, I could already be thinking in my head, okay, that this is going to be a closed circle, right? Now I'm going to keep solving. I'm going to add 6.1 to both sides. All right, and that gives me 3.2K comes along for the ride, greater than or equal to 20.8. All right, if I take that 20.8 and I divide it by 3.2, all right, I end up getting 6.5 for K. So divide by 3.2, opposite of multiplication, K is greater than or equal to 6.5. Again, when I number my, when I do my number line down here, that's okay. Decimals are all right. So here's 6 and here's 7, so 6.5 is going to be right in between them. Closed circle because it's closed set, the equal to symbol tells me that. And I'm going to shade to the right because it says greater than. Again, feel free to pause the video and solve these on your own and come back and check your answer. That's up to you. So if I distribute 3/4, I'm going to get negative 3/4 x. All right, and when I add that, I'm going to get plus 9. And that's going to be less than 18. Okay, so next step here would be to subtract 9 from both sides. Okay, because I see a plus 9, so I'm going to do the opposite. So I have negative 3/4 x is less than 9. Okay, now I'm going to divide by negative 3/4, all right, which again, that's that special case I need to remember for inequalities that tells me I got to flip my symbol. So it's going to become a greater than now. All right, I can either divide by 3/4 or I can multiply by 4/3. That's entirely up to me. Regardless of which way I decide to do it, I end up getting negative 12. Okay, when I graph this on the number line, all right, I'm going to put negative 12 right in the middle. This is an open set because there's no equal to, and greater than means to the right. All right, so could there be more detail on my number line? Sure. Okay, that's up to you, as long as you have your solution on there. All right, next one looks like it's going to be the toughest, right? Because we have distributive property thrown in there with combining like terms. All right, what am I distributing here? This is sometimes tricky. That 7.2 is attached and it has the negative with it. So I'm distributing the whole thing. 24 comes along to the next step. Okay, so when I take that negative 7.2 and I multiply it by 4, or excuse me, negative 4, I get a positive 28.8. So don't forget, negative times negative, right? And then I'm going to take that negative 7.2 and I'm going to multiply that by positive 3, and that's going to give me negative 21.6. Less than or equal to negative 26.4. All right, so before I move on, I want to combine any like terms that I might have. It looks like I have the 24 and the minus 21.6. All right, so when I take 24 and I combine it with a negative 21.6, okay, I end up getting 2.4. I didn't do anything to the 28.8, so that comes down, plus 2.4, less than or equal to negative 26.4. All right, so get rid of addition and subtraction next. So here I see plus, I'm going to minus. So I end up at 28.8x less than or equal to negative 28.8. So when I divide, anything divided by itself always gives me the number 1. So I find out here that x is less than or equal to negative 1. Again, plot that on my number line, put negative 1 somewhere in the middle, doesn't really matter. Okay, label as much of the number line as I want. This is a less than or equal to. That tells me I'm going to have a closed-in circle. Okay, and if it's a less than, it's always going to go to the left. All right, let's try these two here together. Rodney's flying an airplane to Puerto Rico. His suitcase contents inside must weigh less than 50 pounds. His suitcase weighs 4 pounds, and the contents he wants to pack weigh 49 pounds. If each of his shirts weighs 0.75 pounds, write inequality to find the number of shirts needed that he needs to remove to meet the flight requirements. All right, so what he has, let's see here, his suitcase weighs 4 pounds and the contents he wants to pack weigh 49. All right, so if we take the 50 minus 4 for the suitcase, okay, that means he has up to 46 pounds, okay. Hold on, I gotta goof this up. That means he has up to 46 pounds to spare. Okay, so whatever he does here for shirts have to end up being less than or equal to 46, okay? Now, what he finds out here is he has 0.75 pounds per shirt, okay? So that's 0.75 pounds, all right? How many shirts does he have to remove, okay, to weigh less than 50, okay? Or in this case, way less than 46, where he took away the 4 pounds, okay, that he has. Let's see here. No, I think I goofed that up there. Sorry about that. what he has, let's see here, suitcase weighs 4 pounds, and the contents he wants to pack weigh 49. So he has, he's already at 50, he's already at 49 plus 4. Sorry about that, goofed that up. All right, so he's already at 53 pounds. So he's 3 pounds overweight right now. Okay, so 0.75x equals 3 pounds. Okay, so if he takes that 3 pounds and he divides by the 0.75, he's going to find out that he has to remove at least 4 shirts. Okay, so he has to remove at least 4 shirts greater than or equal to meet that requirement. All right. Celine and Bennett are solving the inequality below. Celine says you need to flip the inequality sign, what Bennett claims you will not. All right, who is correct? So if we distribute this -5 to the -2, we're going to end up with a -10x. So I can already see before I move along that there is a negative with the x, but, okay, when I distribute here, I get -5. What it looks like somebody is forgetting in this problem is that when I combine my like terms, which would be the -10x and the +12x, they end up giving me 2x, which is a positive number. All right, so I will not need to flip. Okay, only when I have a negative coefficient. All right, so there's a couple of practice problems down here at the bottom that you can work on. All right, if you'd like to. Otherwise, I'd like you to complete the homework that goes with this lesson.